Welcome to Paperless Forms Training by OperaDDS. With this video, your office will learn how to prepare, send, and intake paperless forms. We start with system requirements. When using OperaDDS forms, be sure that your office is using Google Chrome Internet Browser or Safari on your iPads. I like to begin here because it's the most important for your success. Using any other browser, such as Internet Explorer, Edge, or Firefox is not supported. You will want to visit OperaDDS.com and log in. Your login, which is your username and password, is provided to you by your sales rep. After logging in, click Settings. Click Account Settings. Click Company Profile. Add your company logo. Make sure to add a logo that is the size of 300 by 300 pixels. This will assure things look the way they should. Make sure the email footer is displaying the correct information. This will be displayed on the form emails that are sent by your office, so make sure to verify the doctor's personal information is not entered. If it is, change, save, and make sure to update your company information below. The phone and email should be your office's information. In this area, if you wish to change, click Edit, Modify the info, and click Save. Next, click Settings. Click Account Settings. Click Company Users. Click Add New User. Fill out the pop-up with the team member's information. The username will be the user's login name. For example, ShellySmith12@outlook.com or Shelly S. Please remember, usernames are case sensitive. Email. A password creation link will be sent to this email. Nickname. You can ignore this field unless you're using the chat feature. If you are using the chat feature, be sure to put in nicknames so other employees know who they're talking to. Role. Give them a role. Administrators may make changes to your account like adding other team members or forms. Users are restricted from making any changes. Landing page. The user will open to this specific page each time they log in. Select forms. Company secure emails. Toggling to the right, which is on, will allow this user to receive and view emails that are sent to the company email on file with OperaDDS. Upon adding a user, you will see that they are listed with an exclamation icon. This shows that they have not yet created their password to log in. Each person you add will receive an email to create their password. After doing so, this icon will disappear. For users that have created a password, you will see a password reset icon for future use if they would ever like to change. The email entered for a team member will receive a link to create a password. Team member must create their password within 14 days before the link expires. If they do not see the email, instruct to check their junk or spam folder. If the email is not received, on the far right of the user's name, verify the email address is correct by clicking on the verification icon circled in green above, and send them a password reset by clicking the password reset icon. Great work! Let's set up your personal notifications. Click Action Center. Click Settings. Turn on Forms pop-up notifications to receive in-app pop-ups. Turn on Forms email notifications if you wish to receive email alerts. Click Save. These settings are specific to your login. Great! Next, click Settings. Click Feature Settings. Click Forms Settings. Next, let's cover editing and sharing your forms. Your account has been set up with 6 default forms. The patient information and medical history form shown with a green icon have the ability to send the information back to your practice management system. This form is locked and cannot be edited. All other forms can be edited by your office. On this page, you will also see options to preview, arrange, edit, share, and delete. Clicking Preview will display the form or multiple forms in a packet. When previewing a packet, you may see the additional forms in the packet by clicking on the next page. Let's go back to the management area. Next, let's review sharing. When you click the Share button, a pop-up will appear. This gives 2 options. The link at the top is a link to the form or packet of forms that you will give to your website designer or add to your recall welcome letter. If you would like your forms to appear as if they live on your website, you may send the bottom code to your website designer to add what is called an iframe. Let's go back to the forms management area. Delete, of course, is how you delete a form. Lastly, let's cover how you can edit a form. Editing is available to all of your forms that do not appear with a green icon. Let's click Edit. You are taken to the Forms editor. In this area, you may edit any of the forms from the drop-down. If you'd like to change, just select a new and click Load. Most of this is self-explanatory, but let's review anyway. Form name is of course the name of the form as it will appear when received by a patient. Your header is your title of the form. Feel free to edit the styling as well as the alignment. Form image is your office's logo or image you prefer for this form. form image sizes must not exceed 300 kilobytes. After uploading, select whether you would like your logo or image small, medium, or large. If your form only contains text and some fields at the bottom, feel free to copy and paste your text in this area. Form styling allows you to choose your fonts, colors, and size of your text. Button and field label color allows you to customize your forms to match the branding of your website or logo. Use the color picker to choose your desired color for your buttons and labels. You can select if you wish for this to be your office's default color as well. We also see an option for Remove Submit button. Some forms that you place online don't require the patient to submit back to your office. For any form that you would like a patient to review on your website, but not submit back to your office, you may remove the Submit button by selecting here. On the right side of the screen, we see the default setup of your new form. This default setup is designed to make the process of forms creation easier for your office. You will see that we've already added some fields. These fields are recommended for the following reasons. Patient name must always be present on forms that patients submit back to your office. This field should not be deleted because it allows the ability for your form to display what patient the form is for when received. The date of birth field is added to distinguish one John Smith from the next. For example, you're seeing two John Smiths at the same time. They both sign a consent form for a crown. The date of birth allows your office to distinguish which form was submitted by the correct patient. Signature and date are added for convenience. Also, on the right side of the screen, we see an option to preview your form and of course save. Get in the habit of saving in case you are interrupted during the process. Lastly, on the form settings page, remember that you can always drag and drop items to shift them around. This adds added value to creating forms because you get to choose what goes where. Next, let's click the Add a Field tab. This one is my favorite. In this area, you can add new fields to your forms. Let's go through each of them to see what they look like. You can add items a few different ways. You can simply click on a field to add it to your editor on the right, or you can drag and drop to add. We start with fill in the line. This is your standard fill in the blank for things such as patient names, medication types, etc. Fill in paragraph is a large fill in the blank. This is used for questions such as please explain, that gives the patient the ability to go into depth with their response. Drop-down displays a drop-down list of options to select from. Checkboxes give the patient the ability to select and then deselect an option or choose multiple options. Single choice gives the patient the ability to choose only one of the options. If an option is selected, to deselect the option, the patient must choose one of the other available options. Phone is a validation field that only allows phone numbers. Social security number allows for only socials to be entered. Address is of course an address field. The default address allows for conveniently adding this field with all US states present in the drop-down for state. If you wish to create something unique, you may use the fill-in line to create your own unique address. Email validates that an email is entered. Date will default to the date the form is submitted. Signature allows patients to sign forms electronically from their phone, tablet, or computer. File uploader is a way for you to allow patients to upload images or videos to your practice. For example, if you wish to add teledentistry to your forms, the file uploader will allow for this. Patients can then select photos or videos from their camera roll to submit with their form. Date of birth is for birth dates. And here we see description. Description is a way to add your standard body of text to a form. The description field also allows to add other fields within the description. This would be done in the scenario where you have something like a consent form that says, I, the patient's name, consent to the crown I am about to receive, where you would have both text and a field for the patient's name on the same line. The layout, of course, is for items outside of the normal fields such as a new empty row and section breaks. Each form is created individually, and after you have finished creating, listed in your forms management area as you remember. You can create packets of multiple forms together as well. Prior to jumping into field settings, let's go ahead and move some things around. You can do so by dragging and dropping. You can also delete rows or fields from this area. True customization. Remember, the patient name and date of birth should be included on every form. So for this reason, we will remind you that these should not be deleted. However, if you choose to proceed, you may delete these fields. Last but not least is the Field Settings tab. The Field Settings tab is not something you will need to click on since it will open when you click on the field itself. We see we have the ability to edit this field. Let's change the label to something other than the patient name. Click anywhere on the form to save this change. Label placement allows you to place the label of the field as it is on the top or the left. I'm a firm believer that if you create all fields with the label on top, the form looks consistent and beautiful. Placeholder allows you to give a brief explanation of the field. For example, I can write name here, and this will appear in the background when the patient clicks on this field to fill. Field size allows you to change between small, medium, and large. Field alignment will move the field to the left or right of the row that it is in. Show this field allows you to set rules for your field. For example, always means the patient will always see the question you are asking on the form. When means that based on the rule you set, the question being asked will be shown or hidden. The best way to think about rules is the following. We've all had that scenario on our forms where we ask the patient for their insurance information. Great for those that do, but for the ones that don't, it makes the process a bit tricky because you can't require that everyone fills this out. So why not set a rule to say if you have insurance required? And if you don't have insurance, we won't ask you about it. Click the field you want to assign the rule to. Click When. Select the question that the patient will answer. So for this example, when do you have insurance is yes. Upon saving, this rule has now made it so the field is not shown for those who say they don't have insurance, but is shown for those who select yes that they do. Let's go over another example. The most common rule is hiding or displaying something on a form. All fields will always be shown on a form unless you give it a rule in which, in that case, it will be shown when an action occurs. The action must take place on a checkbox, single choice, or drop-down field. To demonstrate, I have added a single choice field called Do you require pre-medication? The patient may select yes, no, or I'm not sure. I would like instructions to appear if the patient selects yes. I would like nothing to be shown if the patient selects no. I would like different instructions to appear if the patient selects I'm not sure. How we will accomplish this is first by adding pieces of text. We do so by adding a description field. Since I want two different pieces of text to display for different answers, I will add two description fields. After adding all of the fields that will be involved in the rule, let's start by setting a rule on the first answer. I want the text of please take pre-medication 1 hour prior to your appointment to appear if the patient selects yes to the question of do you require pre-medication? To achieve this, I click on the text. You then see options on the left on the screen appear. Where it says show this field, click on when. I want to show this field when do you require pre-medication is yes. Since this is the only field on my form that allows rules, I can simply hit save. If I had other checkboxes or drop-downs, they would all appear in the list to select. Upon saving, you have now set a rule that when yes is selected, this text will appear. Let's save changes and check out our new rule for this piece of text. Being that we have set a rule to show the text if a field is selected, the text is hidden because the field has not been selected by the patient. If you remember, the text said, please take pre-medication 1 hour prior to your appointment. We do not see this here, but if the patient answers the question, do you require pre-medication with yes, you then see it appear. Clicking no or I'm not sure will make the field disappear because we have not set a rule to show this item with those options selected. Let's go back to the editor and make a rule for the other piece of text we added. I would like, please discuss with your physician to determine if pre-medication is required for your visit, to only appear if the option of I'm not sure is selected. Click on this text. The show this field option appears to the left. Follow the same steps as before. Click on when. This is the same process. However, this time, when do you require pre-medication is I'm not sure. We want this to appear, so we select I'm not sure here and click save. Click save and let's take another look at our form. Now we see no text. Because we have a rule on yes that shows text, a rule on I'm not sure that shows text, and we have not given a rule to no, so even if it was selected, nothing will appear. We've completed setting rules for separate fields. You can also take it a step further by selecting and adding other fields to determine the result. Or you can use the OR option. OR would be used when you have several options in a field that you want the same result for. So, several rules for one field. For example, if you have a question such as, how did you hear about us? And you had options of friend, family, other, Google, and Facebook. For the options of friend, family, and other, we want further explanation. So you can make a field called please explain, and then click when. Then add when how did you hear about us is friend, or family, or other. Upon saving, the form will be set up to show the field "Please explain" if the patient selects any of those options in that one question. Require this field works similar to the when field. You can either always require a field, never require a field, or assign rules to it. In some cases, it is not appropriate to make things required. For example, the social security number field should not be required. Some patients do not like to give out their social. Field styles is seen again if you prefer to have a different style for this field. If not, you may leave as is. Nice work! You've just created your first form. Please note, if you are on the Forms Only package, each time the new form button is used, your office is subject to standard form creation fees per form. Please make sure to discuss this with your sales rep regarding additional charges for adding extra forms. For those on the advanced subscription, these charges do not apply. You might be asking yourself, where can our patients fill out their forms? They can be filled on your website, on your iPads, from your office's normal email, from an email or text in your portal, as well as the email you have attached to your practice management system. So what's next? You will want to give your new patient forms to your website designer, get familiar with how forms are sent and received, and review sending information back to your practice management system. Prior to doing so, let's cover how to put your forms on your iPad. We recommend the larger size iPads. The bigger the screen, the quicker the patients will be able to fill their information. We start by turning off autofill. On your iPad, click Settings, click Safari, click Passwords and Autofill. Turn off all options. Repeat this process on all of your office's iPads that will use forms. Let's begin adding forms to your iPad with your new patient packet. Click Safari. Visit OperaDDS.com. Click Login. Log in using the credentials given to you by your sales rep. Click the Forms tab. Click Blank Forms. Click New Patient Forms and they will open. Upon opening, you will see your new patient forms packet. We like to call this the Secure Patient Questionnaire page. When on this page, click on the Add icon. This is a square icon with an upward arrow. Then click Add to Home Screen. Rename the form, then save. Great work! Your new patient forms now appear as an app on your desktop. Each time you click on the app, a new session of new patient forms will be started. Next, we will add your office's Forms Launcher. The Forms Launcher shows all of your office's forms. The same way we added the previous forms, log into your account and click the Forms tab. Then click Blank Forms. In this area, you will see Forms Launcher. Click this Forms Launcher. After clicking, it will show a list of your office's forms. Click the same Add icon that you used earlier, the square box with the upward arrow. Click Add to Home Screen, rename Launcher, and save. Nicely done! Your Forms Launcher will now appear on your iPad desktop. Next, we will add your office's Forms Updater. The Forms Updater is a way for patients to update their forms. The same way we added the previous Forms Launcher, log into your account and click the Forms tab. Then click Blank Forms. In this area, you will see Forms Updater. Click this Forms Updater. After clicking, you will be prompted to search for a patient. Click the same Add icon, the square box with the upward arrow. Click Add to Home Screen, rename as Updater, and save. Nicely done! Your Forms Updater will now appear on your iPad desktop. You're all set up. Let's quickly discuss the items now added to your iPad. As mentioned, the Forms Launcher is a way your office can select any blank form you have. For this reason, the launcher does not require you to log in when it's clicked. Simply click on the launcher, select the forms you want, and have the patient fill them out by clicking the Launch button. The Forms Updater is a way that patients can update their forms. For this reason, the launcher does require you to be logged in. We wouldn't want a patient walking off with an iPad and accessing your patients, so it does require a login after clicking on it. Once you've logged into the system, it will prompt you to search for a patient. After you click the Link Patient button, you can then select the forms that the patient will update and hit Launch. You're doing great! Next, let's review sending forms to patients. As mentioned earlier, there are a few ways to do this. If you've added your forms to your website, you can tell patients to fill them out there. Or you can also text and email the forms directly from your portal. Click on the Blank Forms page, and next to your packet of new patient forms or any other form, you can click the Send button, which is the arrow that you see here. After clicking, a screen appears. This will allow you to search if the patient is in your practice management system. Keep in mind this is based on the last sync. If they are in your list, Opera will display their phone and email they have on file. If they're not, feel free to simply click the New Patient button. Clicking New Patient does not add them as a new patient to your practice management system. It's more of a secondary option for you to quickly send these off. After putting in the patient's name, put in their email or text number. For customers on the Forms Only package, email is available. For those on the Advanced subscription, you will see that text is also an option. Click which you prefer to send and use the green Send button. After sending forms, wouldn't it be nice to know the status? When they were sent, have they been completed, or who at the office sent them? With OperaDDS, you are able to track the progress on the Sent Forms page. This will list all of the useful information to your office in real time. Alright, so now that you've had a lay of the land, when patients fill out their forms, how are they received and where do they go? The Completed Forms page displays all of your form submissions. On the left, we see a packet of forms that have been received. In the middle of the page, there is an option to link them to a patient from your practice management system. Upon doing so, your forms will be sent back to your practice management system. For Eaglesoft, they will appear in the patient's SmartDoc. For Dentrix, they will appear in the patient's Document Center. And OpenDental, they will appear in the Images folder. For Eaglesoft customers, linking also allows you to send your information from your patient information form and your medical history form to fill out the patient's chart. We see the date and time of this submission. We also see action items to the right. Clicking the eyeball icon allows you to view the form. If you'd like to download the form, you can use the download button, which is the downward arrow. Make sure your web browser doesn't block pop-ups for this page. If you want all of your forms from your packet to appear as one PDF, you can use the download all button, which is the double arrow pointing down. And lastly, the archive button is available to archive the forms. Next, let's cover how to send that information from your patient information form or medical history form back into Eaglesoft. In the middle of the page, we see where it says Not Linked. If we click here, it will allow us to search for a patient. When you find the one you want, click Link to Form. Opera will show your existing record for this patient on the left. On the right, it will show the information that has been entered on the patient's form. This is a quick check to make sure we have linked the correct patient. A helping hand per se. Showing in red helps these areas stand out to say, this is different. If this is the correct patient, simply click the checkbox option that says, I verify these records belong to the same patient. After clicking the Link Patient button, you now see you have linked the forms to this patient. This gives you the option of sending this information back to Eaglesoft. To do so, simply click the form icon next to the patient information form. Upon doing so, a quick reminder will prompt you that sending information back is final and cannot be undone. As soon as you have completed this step, the information is sent back to Eaglesoft. You will see the form icon appear yellow when it has been triggered and green when it has been sent. As soon as you see the yellow icon, this means the information has been queued to overwrite the patient's chart. You may continue on with your day while OperaDDS fills in your patient's record. Great work! You're now ready to go paperless. And of course, if you have any questions, please be sure to use the Need Help button within OperaDDS or the Contact Us page on the website. Until our next video, have a wonderful evening.